Hey there, YouTube squad. We are live on location here in Breinigsville, Pennsylvania. And for all you Lehigh Valley viewers, if you hadn't seen enough snow yet this year, well, we've got a little more. So I decided to come out to Breinigsville and, you know, do the daily stream out here for once. Since it's practically a heat wave, I mean, check it out, no gloves, folks. So yeah, no gloves and no love for the snow. Everybody now hates it, except me. Except Jeremy and me. We still love it. It doesn't matter how much of a logistical nightmare it creates. Get snowed in, have the proper provisions, and enjoy it. I mean, it's a delight. Like, it's so fun. I mean, having this much snow on the ground is a thing that only happens every couple of years. So, we had the perfect scenario here. What happened was we already had a layer of snow and ice, and while it was thin, it was still on a lot of the ground. So when we got a second big snowstorm, followed by a sleet and freezing rainstorm, it stayed. It stayed. So as you can see, we've got places with 8-foot tall snowbanks that are still around. And, places like Walmart parking lots are going to have 15-foot snowbanks. And they'll be here into March. So for all of you snow haters, sorry about that. But for the rest of you, enjoy. Like, cross-country skiers and snowmobilers definitely had a season to remember this year. And it created logistical hassles on the next level for people like mountain bikers, right? Because when you have that deep snow with an icy crust on top, it's almost impassable. I mean, just walking a mile through that kind of conditions will, that'll give you a real workout, whether you're like an elite athlete or not. Walk to the local park through knee-deep snow with an icy crust on top, and it's gonna be a cardio workout for sure. So, I mean, like I've done hikes that are 0.8 of a mile, and they felt like a 2-hour bike ride at the end. So yeah, it's and we got a little more snow last night into this morning. So it's for many it's insult to injury, but this was just a nuisance snow, so it's not really a big deal. Anyway, today, regarding space weather and earth weather, I'm not doing it. I'm doing this instead. So if you've got specific stories you'd like me to comment on, feel free, but I'm not showing any sunspot number, any radio flux, any NSO data showing the magnetism of the heliosphere. I'm not showing the coronal hole or the high-speed stream. So yeah, it's we've been re-snowed. And once again, when you get snow that's on top of existing snow, you got the albedo effect in spades. You know what I'm saying? You've got like the albedo effect on top of the albedo effect. Light just blasting back into space instead of warming up the ground. So, I mean, and that is ultimately the runaway effect that does cause at least the northern hemisphere to glaciate, which is the state that it's usually in, by the way. If you're a geologist, you would be well aware that, the average temperature in the northern hemisphere in the past 30 million years is like 12 degrees Celsius colder than it is right now. I guess a lot of people aren't aware of that. That's one of those facts. That's an inconvenient fact, I guess, right, folks? Yeah, the average temperature, 12 degrees Celsius colder than it is today. Average for the northern hemisphere. And what happens is, when the northern hemisphere glaciates, here's the mechanism. Fresh water gets injected into the North Atlantic Oscillation by ice melt in Greenland. It pulls up and sits on top of the ocean water. It is less massive, so it just sits there. It eventually disrupts the NAO, the North Atlantic Oscillation, which stops places like Scotland and Ireland and Norway from getting warmed up by the Gulf Stream. And the next thing you know, the whole northern hemisphere glaciates. It just freezes, starting with Western Europe, and then it just spreads right around the northern hemisphere. Takes a while, but if each summer you have one or two glaciers that sort of never go away, then that's what happens. You get the full glaciation. So, just to give you an idea how hard it is to walk through snow like this, check it out. I'm pretty fit, right? Watch this. Every step you take, there's ice down there too, so it's very slippery and extremely labor intensive. So just doing an easy leisurely stroll through, calf deep or deeper snow is definitely a workout. So yeah, I just figured I would share, because while I was out here in Breinigsville, I figured I would do a little bit of winter wonderlanding. And because, our Lehigh Valley viewers really love it. Real Pennsylvanians are, pretty well versed in snow stuff. So if you've lived in Pennsylvania your whole life, I mean, look, I've been through some blizzards, all right? The mid-90s blizzards, the 1983 blizzard, that was still one of the craziest ones. But yeah, it really is a science. And what's interesting too is that the human body is more resilient than a lot of people realize. Yeah, if your bare skin's exposed for a certain period of time, you'll get frostbite and all that stuff. That's definitely true. So, listen to the warnings. However, if you are acclimated to cold exposure and stuff like that, you're going to have less likelihood of getting frostbite, because frostbite is a function of your circulation. And so if you're super fit, not only do you put out more heat, you're also you got better circulation in those appendages, so you're less likely to, things like vasodilators matter, because the blood vessels in your hands, they constrict when they get cold. So you want massive circulation. Essentially, I imagine Viagra would actually help you. Viagra and Cialis would help you survive cold exposure because of their vasodilative properties. But anyway, so this ain't going to be a long stream because I got a lot of things to do. And because, we got to raise the prices at the Redbubble shop. Links in the description to that. So you can always check that out. And we'll be having new merch coming in there on the regs. We're going to start selling a new product called Gub Mints. They look like Mentos, but they're poop flavored, hollow, and cost $1 billion per pack. So also you're forced to carry them around all the time. And they are vacuous. If you leave it in your pocket too long, it'll blow your pocket up and become bloated. So there's that. So anyway, yeah, lots of new things going on here. 2026 will be a very interesting year indeed, with some crazy ultra endurance races coming. Like on the solstice, we've got a ultra endurance 2 weekends in a row at the Bob Rodale Park. 24 hours of Bob Rodale, and then the next weekend, 12 hours of Bob Rodale. Is that enough? Is that enough Bob Rodale Park for you? Fortunately, the conditions will be a little better than this, because the first event, the 24 hours, is on the day before the solstice. So 12 noon on the 20th to 12 noon the 21st will be the 24 hours of Bob Rodale. And then the next weekend, there's a 12-hour race. So they'll be completely different. There'll be different rules, different competitors, largely. Some maniac will probably do both of them. And I have my season set up around that. So the only thing that I really have on the season at the moment, that's for sure, is the 24 hours of Bob Rodale And that's a mid-season break. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an ultra 24-hour race, basically a 24-hour time trial on a closed course. And that's going to be the mid-season break. So that's going to be how I recover from all of the season's shenanigans before that. And, you know, then that's because when you do a 24-hour race, you don't ride hard. You ride kind of chill. Anyway, we've got massive snow boulders around, and it's about time to close out this stream. But you'll find all kinds of links in the description. Hit us up on social media. If you want to advertise, we can guarantee views because we can boost your commercial. So we can put it out on our channel. We can even boost a commercial on your channel. So, you know, if you need views for your product, if you want to advertise your goods or services, hit us up. You may even be able to get yourself on the jerseys, or you may be able to sponsor events, because we cyclists, we need a lot of things throughout the season. It's not just a physically taxing sport. It's a taxing sport, period. And, you know, that's how it's able to be the deepest rabbit hole in all of sports. So anyway, it's time to close this out. We'll see you soon here at the Smash News Network, these Busted David News. Don't be a stranger. And we'll cover space weather soon. I may do a video today about it, but don't hold your breath. Until the next time we stream, may that solar wind be at your back.